Welcome to Face Connecticut, an in-depth look at today's issues.
Good Sunday morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Face Connecticut here on WTIC and WTIC FM. Sam Gingerelli, your host for the program on this, the next to last weekend in the month of November, headed toward the holiday season. Today we have two topics. First up, we're going to be talking about a program used by the State Department of Labor to help employees and employers keep people working. And then later in the program, we're going to be talking about some new treatments and some new information on ADHD. First up on the program, we have with us Devon O'Nulty, and he's with the Department of Labor, and you run a program which is called Shared Work. Can you tell us what that is?
Sure. First, thank you for having me. Shared Work. Basically, what Shared Work is a program that allows an employer to retain their skilled employees during any downturns in their business. Mm-hmm. They're able to reduce their hours between 10 and 60%. While the employees receive a subsidized payment of that same percentage from unemployment.
So in other words, you're kind of sharing the load here almost.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly what the name implies, where, we step in where we can to help the employer through that downturn, mm-hmm. And the employer is able to retain their skilled employees and reduce their payroll costs. Mm-hmm.
Can you give us some typical examples? I'm presuming this is manufacturing businesses throughout the state. What are some of the downtimes? In other words, all business really is cyclical, right? And there are times when they're going to be really busy and need everybody, and other times not so much, right?
Yeah, through our trends, we've seen that the winters are obviously the hardest time for most employers, especially manufacturing. Mm-hmm. But aside from manufacturing, we also have some other employers who too see a downturn maybe in the early spring, mm-hmm. or even the midsummer, depending on the industry. Mm-hmm. But as long as they know that the program's here, they're happy to join in, and we help them get through their struggles.
Mm-hmm. And how does one get involved in this? Now, I understand you guys were going great guns when the unemployment rate was a little bit higher in Connecticut.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess the latest numbers are out for October, down to 5.1%, which I guess lowers the interest that employers have in this program.
It's tough to say. Yeah. I would happen to agree, yes, that usually when the unemployment rate is down, the interest for the program does diminish. Mm-hmm. However, we do have an average of about 204 employers currently active with the program, mm-hmm. With an attached 900 employees. So despite its limited awareness, mm-hmm. it's definitely still a popular program.
Yeah. I mentioned a little tale before we started taping about the electric boat shipyard down in Groton. And one of the things that I heard over and over and over when I talked to the folks, some of the supervisors and the people higher up in the electric boat division, is that a lot of times they lost very skilled workers, pipe fitters, ship builders, grinders, welders, and they couldn't get them back because they would go to another shipyard somewhere else in some other part of the country. And then, of course, the electric boat could not hire them back and had to really start back to basic training for folks to learn specifically how to do submarine work.
Yeah, and that's what we try to avoid. I think a lot of times, in our economy, even when it's good, employers often look for different ways to retain their skilled staff, and that's where Shared Work steps in.
Mm-hmm. Now, is this mainly, hard labor type of work, or do you get folks that are maybe a little lull in marketing or some of the other phases? Are those just as much? Or?
Yeah, we have industries including vets. We have fence makers. We mm-hmm. also have dry cleaners at times. Mm-hmm. So a lot of different industries, not just manufacturing.
Mm-hmm. Now, how do they, the ones I guess that don't know of you, how do they get introduced to you, and what's their reaction?
Sure. Well, just recently, we sent out a mailing to all the employers in the state, and it was a postcard that kind of explained the program, gave our website, and kind of gave a little bit of what we're here to do and how we're here to help. Mm-hmm. So that's one way. And then also, we also go and do one-on-one employer presentations. Obviously, the employer may have found out via word of mouth or, just going to chamber conferences and such, or the CBIA. And so we definitely connect with them there, or just calling into the Department of Labor.
Yeah. Now, you had some interesting numbers for me, and I was flabbergasted by exactly how many what we call employers there are here in the state of Connecticut.
Yeah, so the actual number of employers is about 191,000.
Wow.
But the actual number of registered employers with the Department of Labor is probably 101,000. So,
And these are all sizes and types of businesses, correct?
Exactly.
Now, do they all qualify or no?
So in order for you to qualify, you have to be registered with the Department of Labor first to ensure you're paying your taxes, because that's one of the requirements of the program.
That's where you guys get your money to, yeah. So, yeah, they have to be contributing. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
And where do they go from there?
So from there, once they're registered with the Department of Labor, they give us a call, and we would help them complete the application process, which, generally speaking, we get done in about 3 to 7 days, so very quick turnover, unlike most other state programs.
Right.
And then the paperwork from there is a weekly submission where they submit their payroll records to us, and we process payments.
And again, it can be anyone that an employee can just pick and choose some of the folks that may not be as busy, and they can change individuals at individual times too?
Yes. The
So
program,
you can adjust it to however it fits your business, correct?
exactly. The program is very, very flexible. As long as the employer has at least 2 employees attached to the program, they can participate in the program. And then they can range their reductions between 10 to 60%. And it can vary amongst different people, different units, or whatever the needs are of the business. We try to make sure the business is successful during their downturn.
And again, this is very important for local folks because, a skilled employee is a very valuable employee to most businesses, I would think.
Oh, of course. We find that, especially nowadays, we have a lot of specialized skills and a lot of specialized employers out there where, it takes maybe a year or two to train to that level. So to lose someone during your downturn and not be able to hire them back is definitely a big hit for the company.
Well, I've heard that the medical businesses, biotechnology, medical types of businesses up and down Route 91 and Meriden and Middletown, and a lot of those folks here in Connecticut, and I can imagine that's high-tech stuff. So you can't afford to lose somebody that you spent almost a year training.
Exactly. Aerospace is another.
Yeah.
Folks with defense contracts is also another big proponent. And it's a lot of different companies, again, who you would never think about, but definitely have some very, very talented and skilled employees that they want to maintain.
Right. And we shouldn't, because we're talking some of the major companies, that shouldn't, prevent a smaller company from saying, hey, I could use that. So this is not just for large employers, correct?
No, in fact, I would say 90% of all currently participating companies have about 50 employees or less.
Okay.
So it's definitely geared more to, I would say, smaller companies, but definitely well suited for bigger companies as well.
Yeah. So the word is don't rule yourself out. Find out what you can benefit from, because it is there to serve you, really. Because it's so, individually, you can sculpt it to fit whatever you need.
Right. And again, that's our motto, just making sure we're able to fit your needs and get you through your downturn so you're able to bounce back and, re-engage into the market.
Yeah. Now, we were talking before, how many other states use programs like this?
Currently about 28 other states.
28?
28.
How do they do it compared to how we do it? Is it set up basically the same? Or?
Well, some of the newer states who recently got started due to a grant that was sponsored by the USDOL, they're a lot more strict at first. Again, it does depend on their statutes, regulations for their unemployment trust funds and whatnot.
In their states, yeah.
Exactly. But I say the commonality that we all share is having the proponent of flexibility. I think that's something we all want to do to make sure our employers, no matter who you are able to participate in the program.
Yeah. Now, among those 28 states, how's Connecticut doing in comparison?
Well, we're one of the pioneers, I would say. Just recently, we got back from a national conference held at the United States Department of Labor, where we, shared our views, our changes, and some of our strategies to promote the program to different employers with other states, especially the new ones who were considering it.
Very good. Now, how does one, in other words, give us all the contact info that one would need? If I'm a businessman and I'm thinking right now to myself, I'm going, that sounds like something I might be able to use in the future, if not right away, sometime down the road. How do they start? Give them all the information they would need to get this thing going, as it were.
That's a great question. So we have a wonderful redesigned website, and the website is shared, SHARED, work, WORK, CT.com, and that brings you right to our homepage where you can see a lot of information about the program. If you're not so computer savvy, however, you can also give us a call at 860-263-6660.
All right, very good. Devon, thank you for being with us, and thank you. And we've been talking about the Shared Work Project. Maybe it's good for you. Check it out.
Thank you for having me.